Hi, Ted Santos back again. And today I'd like to talk to you about a question someone asked me. Rather good question. And maybe there isn't such a really simple, easy answer to it. And the question was, what makes me qualified to do what I do? What makes me qualified, or what qualifications do I have to actually go in and create problems in a company? And my first answer is, I have none. In fact, no one does. And I know quite a few successful former CEOs and current CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. Brilliant people, very successful. And at the same time, none of those people have all the answers. I have never met anyone that had all the answers. And if you combine that with, these people became CEOs of companies and they never went to a school for how to be a CEO. And if you look at society now, we have these companies like Walmart that's doing about $500 billion in revenue, probably the equivalent of a country, of a small country. So who's had the experience to run a $100 billion company? We're running companies that have never existed at this size in the history of the world. And there's no school for that. So who's qualified? And besides, if you talk about experience, well, you have the experience, hopefully, to reproduce what you've done in the past. And if you're looking to accomplish something, especially like a breakthrough or a quantum leap, where there's no blueprint, who has the experience? So really, who's qualified to do anything? Even to be the president of a nation. And 2015, the United States has a population that it's never had before. China has over 1 billion people. Who has ever been a president who's been qualified to run a country with over 1 billion people? So essentially what I'm saying, I'm not qualified and neither is anyone else. The experience you have will hopefully reproduce what you've done in the past. It doesn't qualify you as being able to produce a new outcome in the future. In most cases, you're making up the knowledge, you're inventing the future. So what gives me the experience to invent a future that I've never had before? In other words, what I'm saying is, all your experience does is prove that you could possibly replicate the past. The future, well, the future doesn't exist. There's really nothing there. I know lots of people think the future is a continuation of the past. It can be, except when you're looking at breakthroughs, that's a break. The past is going this way, and the future has the possibility of going in a whole nother direction. Just as the United States could still be a colony of Great Britain. But there was a break, there was a Declaration of Independence that broke from the past, which was to be a colony. Where did that come from? I mean, you look at people like Nikola Tesla in the late 1800s. This guy was talking about cell phones. Where did that come from? Breakthroughs normally come from nothing. So when someone asks me what qualifies me to do what I do, one place that I can look and you can ask, where did it come from? When I was 9, I started studying human behavior. I got my hands on everything that I could to understand the nature of human beings and what makes people choose and decide or not decide. And by the time I was 19, I had so much experience in studying and understanding people, from reading, from primary research and talking and interviewing people, that I won't say I was an expert, but I had a decent grounding and understanding. And some people may say that's rather young, except Mozart was 5 when he wrote his first piece, so I say I was a little late. So what qualifies me is that I've constantly challenged myself to step into situations where I had no idea what I was doing. I pursued goals that were unrealistic. I'm 5'6". I was dunking basketballs. I mean, there's no reason that that should have been a reality, except I made it my reality. And I can go on with examples, losing my parents and taking the leadership role of the family. I lived in 8 different countries. I left the U.S. speaking one language, English, and I came back speaking 3 languages, Spanish, Portuguese, and English. So how do you constantly put yourself in situations? You live with people. I lived with Mayan Indians in the jungle, no electricity, no running water. So how do you train your mind to constantly deal with uncertainty? And breakthroughs normally, as I said, are not a continuation of the past. They are some leap into a domain of things that you didn't know. So there's a lot of uncertainty when you start working with things you don't know. And I'd say I'm no expert in that. And I'd also say there's really no training in the school system for how do you function and operate and think through that which you don't know, which requires your thinking thoughts that you've never thought before. So I've constantly developed myself in that area. I've constantly given myself problems to solve. So when it comes to working with someone else, I've created a methodology, and what I see has worked for me to produce quantum leaps in my life. And when I look at athletes, I look at business people, I've done a tremendous amount of research in this in the US and abroad, in business and personal. So technically, I'm just as qualified as the next person. What has made the difference for me is I've had a huge commitment for understanding how to operate in this world of breakthroughs, in this world of quantum leaps, in the world of unknown, the unknown unknowns. And not everyone is comfortable going there on purpose. So, no one's qualified. Technically, not even me. I am committed, though, to walking people through those unknown unknowns. So, it's a question that I've been asked many times, what qualifies me? And I'll say no one's qualified to do anything. But there are people who take a stand and will have their actions support what they stand for, and they will navigate themselves through that uncertainty. So developing the skills and acquiring the tools to navigate through uncertainty is a really huge aspect of life, and a big part of it is being able to deal with yourself. It's sort of like Navy SEAL training. Navy SEALs don't brainwash you. They want to break you through what your self-imposed limitations are. And the method that I have is really very much aligned with Navy SEAL training. I don't have people swimming in the ocean during a storm, but I get people to confront what their self-imposed limitations are so that they can see what possibilities exist beyond what they believe reality is. And I've done a lot of that with myself. I've been my own guinea pig in understanding people. So, as always, I thank you for your time and listening to me. I'll have many more videos to come. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can catch me on my email, which is tsantos@turnaroundip.com, and IP is like intellectual property. Or you can find me on LinkedIn or Facebook under Ted Santos. Thank you very much, and goodbye until next time.